This video is presented by the EA Creator Network. I have received some of the Sims 4 packs for free. Thank you to the EA Creator Network. Hello everyone, JSimLady here. Welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build. I know I haven't been doing as many of these lately, and I kind of fell off the wagon of making short walkthroughs for them and posting about them everywhere and everything. Honestly, part of it is I just lost my spark for building lately. And I think part of the reason for that is just that life kind of overwhelmed me a little bit. We've been dealing with some pretty significant medical things lately. Not that that isn't our everyday life anyways, but these things were new and different enough to make me constantly worried, constantly anxious. And now that things appear to be settling down a little bit, at least for the foreseeable future, hopefully, fingers crossed and wishing on stars and all that kind of stuff, I'm starting to come out of the fog of anxiety and stuff a little bit more. And I'm not quite back to a place where I feel like building a lot. Like, I don't have a ton of inspiration, but I do have a couple of ideas that I want to do. And this was the first thing that I wanted to do for my all pack save file. This lot in Copperdale, to me, feels like they purposely made it for the businesses and hobbies pack. Like, I don't remember when high school years came out, but it's been a while now, right? And I've heard people say that they work on packs up to 2 years beforehand. Hasn't it been longer than 2 years since high school years came out? I think it has. I think it's been a lot longer than 2 years. I just don't remember exactly when. So anyways, this lot specifically feels like they built it for the purposes of businesses and hobbies. I mean, it's a supposedly residential lot in a downtown area on a boardwalk, no less. Like, if that doesn't scream, hey, someday we're gonna make an expansion pack where you're gonna have businesses on your home lot, then nothing does, right? But I don't know of any other lots. Maybe it was just a coincidence. I don't know. But I thought it was perfect. So I decided to turn it into a home business lot. I just basically put a wall between the back and upper part of the home and then the small storefront part. And because the stairs leave a little open space in the back, I turned that into a bathroom. And it's kind of a weird house setup for your sim because the kitchen is downstairs and then everything else is, except for the private bathroom, everything else is upstairs. If you really wanted to, you could change that. There's plenty of room upstairs to change that and make that downstairs room something else, not the kitchen. But I was trying to keep it as cheap as possible, basically. There's all sorts of things you could do with this lot to change it around a little bit. But I was trying to go as cheap as possible because it's meant to be a starter home and business. Which is why in a few minutes here, you'll see me switch over to the debug menu and try to decorate this lot with as much debug stuff as I could, because without the debug menu, this was a very empty lot. And as it is, it's still very expensive. It's around 19,000 simoleons, give or take a little bit, I think. And so the storefront part of it remains empty. your sim will have to do something else to make some money to get their store up and running. They will be able to buy this lot, move into it, and live comfortably, because it'll have all the amenities, and it does have the one public bathroom ready to go, but the storefront itself is a blank slate that you can use for whatever kind of business you want. I was thinking hot yoga because there's a fireplace in there. I know that sounds weird, but there's a fireplace in there, and so the first thing that popped into my mind was hot yoga. I don't know why. That's just where my brain went. But you can put anything you want in there. The unfortunate thing is your sim is going to have to work some other type of job to get to that point of putting a business in there. Other than that, I didn't put too overly much stuff on this lot. Like, you'll see I go through a bunch of different options for things. I thought about putting debug tables and chairs out there and things. I don't know if the Sims can use debug tables and chairs, but the only reason why you would have tables and chairs, I don't think they can, by the way. It was just going to be for looks mainly. But, on the off chance that customer Sims could use it, I was going to include it. But I got to thinking the only business that would really use outdoor tables and chairs would be like maybe a wine bar or a cafe or something of that nature. And I didn't want to put all that stuff out there and be like, you have to use it for this type of business, or you have to go in and edit it yourself to make it a different type of business. I really wanted to leave the business portion of it a fully complete blank slate that you could put whatever you wanted in there. So if you just want to sell your Sims paintings, you can do that. If you want to have a bakery in there, you can do that. If you want to have a candy shop, you can do that. Also, I tried to fill up the lot with other city, town type items. But I have this thing where I like to have my lots really fit into the surrounding area, because unlike previous games, your active lot is not floating in a sea of gray. Most people are mostly familiar with The Sims 3, even if you're a long-time Sims player who's been around since the beginning. Your most recent memory is gonna be The Sims 3, and so to me, it's weird that people feel the need to over landscape lots as if they're floating in a sea of gray and it's the only landscaping you get to look at. You know what I mean? I prefer to make my lots look like they blend into and belong with their surrounding neighborhood. So I took a look around, and this town, is it called Copperdale? Now I can't remember. It's Copper something. Copperdale, right? Or is that something I made up in my head? I don't know. Anyways, this particular town does not have electrical poles or anything like that around it. So I opted not to do that kind of stuff. In my head, they buried all their electrical stuff underground, possibly. I know I live in a town, even though it's very rural, I live in a town where the downtown area has buried all of its electrical underground. And so we don't have any electrical poles anywhere in the shopping, quote unquote, shopping district of our town, if you could call it that. we don't have any electrical poles or anything. You see none. You see streetlights. That's it. And you don't even see the wires for the streetlights because they're all underground mainly. However, in some of the older neighborhoods, like my neighborhood, people voted against having the electric buried underground for some reason, which makes no sense to me. Or the town decided that they ultimately didn't want to do it. They were going to at one time, and then someone somewhere changed their mind. And so we have electric poles and electric lines everywhere, especially in our neighborhood, which is one of the older neighborhoods. The newer neighborhoods, you don't see it because they just never put them up. They buried them before they built the neighborhoods. But in the older parts of town, you still have the electrical wires and lines everywhere. Copperdale reminds me of my town. And so I was going to do stuff like that, but I took a look around and there's nothing like that anywhere else around the town. So I opted not to do that so it fit in better with its surroundings. Does that make sense? And then I wanted this to very much be a starter home and business, and it is a starter home. Your sim can move in here for sure, right out of the gallery or create a sim or whatever. But they aren't gonna start a business right away. It's a rather expensive starter home. I tried, I really did. The business portion is there and ready to go. I'm thinking I'm gonna put hot yoga in there because there's a fireplace in there. That's just the first thing that popped into my mind was a hot yoga studio. So I'm thinking for the all pack save file, I'm going to put a hot yoga studio in there or something of that nature. Maybe a cafe. I don't know. But the first thing that came to mind was hot yoga. You can put whatever you want in there, but your sim is going to have to work for it. They're going to have to get a job somewhere else first and or get a loan from mom and dad to open a business down there. The majority of the decorating of this lot, the non-essential basic items, is all debug stuff. So if something goes wrong, I'm deeply sorry. I just didn't want to leave you with a completely, totally empty lot. I wanted you to have some decoration in this overly expensive starter home. So I did use a bunch of debug stuff. I did not test the lot first, so hopefully it works. But anyways, we are nearing the end of the speed build. I feel like I've rambled on a little bit too much now. And so we are going to, I guess we have about a minute left. Sorry. I got a little ahead of myself there for a second. Those debug eco lifestyle, eco living, whatever it is, lamps are not free, by the way. They cost money. I think the rugs did too. I'm not 100% sure, but I think the rugs might have too. But those lamps cost money even though they came from debug. I was highly, highly disappointed. But now we're actually coming to the end. So let's get to the quick little walkthrough here. And I think just taking care of some stuff and then we're done. Okay, here we are in the game, but I am telling you, this game is hallucinating. So when I first came in here, when I left last night, it was somewhere around 19,300 simoleons, right? So when I first popped in here just now, it was over 20,000. It was like 20,500 simoleons. And I went in and clicked on it, and in the lot, it said it was only 18 something. So I left the lot, came back out to the world screen, the map screen, and now it says it's 19,600. Let's go back inside the lot and see what it says inside. It says 18,181 again. This game has hallucination issues. I don't know how much this is going to be for you. If it is super expensive, just take out the extra toilet and sink until your sim is ready to start their business. But anyways, let's get to the walkthrough if I can find all my buttons here. Okay, here we have the cute little lot nestled into a cute little downtown here in Copperdale. Let me do that. That might be a little bit better. See the cute little town? Okay, here's the lot. Tell me that they did not specifically make this with businesses and hobbies in mind. I did go back in and change the awnings to white at some point because I realized that I took out the pink planter boxes to use debug boxes, and the pink awnings didn't really match as well anymore, so I changed them to white. But here is the storefront here on the boardwalk. And like I said, the storefront is empty. Your sim is gonna have to work for it. But there is an empty storefront here that your sim can use for a bakery, a candy shop, whatever. And then there's a bathroom over there. And then this is the entrance to the home. Just a stairway right here. I envision there being like coat racks and shoe racks and stuff back here, but this is just a starter home, so you'll have to do without for now. Tiny little kitchen. There is a nice little backyard back here, though. You get lights, and you get a banner, and you get a flower box and everything, so that's kind of cool, right? You get a little something, because I found all that stuff in debug. So you do get a little something. At least I think all of it is from debug. You know, now that I think about it, the lights might not be debug. They might be, I might have actually paid for those. And that's why the lot started getting more expensive. Oops, my bad. But that's okay. You come up here, you've got the bed there. I put the bed over here because I figured this would probably be maybe the quieter side of things potentially, whereas this one faces a more open area and a road, so it might be noisier. I don't think the Sims care about that, but I care about that. So I put the bed over here, and then obviously the living room over here. Where's the bathroom? We have an empty closet space, empty storage space, and then I guess I put the bathroom over here. Just a basic bathroom, builder grade. You'll have to work up to having more. No art or anything because I couldn't find any in debug that worked. So, and then a little balcony here, but there's nothing here because again, this is very much a starter lot and your sim will have to work up to all of that stuff. So, hopefully you enjoyed this remodel of this cute little Copperdale house into a businesses and hobbies storefront home. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.